Welcome to What's in the Unboxing. I have a special guest with me today, my roommate Eric, the wife of the Queen of Space. You're special enough to me.
I do all the tech support.
You're welcome.
I'm tech support in logistics most days.
Yes, but today you are the master of magic.
It is true, I am a wizard. Yet today I am but a mortal.
So what do you have for us today?
So, what's today's date again?
Today is the 17th.
Okay, that sounds about right. I've lost track.
No, the 18th. It is the 18th as of recording.
That's the mark of a true wizard, is we all run in backwards time. So, last week was Austin Magic Fest, and at Magic Fest, starting, I think, with the last couple of them and going forward, we're going to have these things called mystery boosters, where they're booster packs of Magic cards that we don't know what's in them right now. There's potential of something like 1,800 different cards that can be placed in these packs. Each slot in the pack has its own whole sheet of cards it could potentially be. And Wizards of the Coast got it in their head to do booster drafts of these things. What a booster draft is everybody who participates gets 3 of these boosters. And you open one up, you take a card, you pass the pack down to the guy on your left or on your right, and you build your deck out of each of the cards that you pick from all these different potential picks. And so everyone has a completely random selection of what it is that you're going to be fighting with each other. And the reason why these are special is that there's going to be convention versions and there's going to be in-store versions with different cards potentially presented to each participant. And I managed to split a victory with somebody during one of my mystery booster drafts, and my prize were these 2 mystery boosters and some of the promo lands. And the reason why these are so highly sought after in the general populace is because they're not available at local game stores in this iteration. They go for a decent amount of money. And so because I have 2 and because we're doing unboxing videos on our channel, I decided, hey, let's mix this up a little bit and see what I can pull. So, let's get to it.
So as the cards come up and out and he will go over them, I will block out my beautiful mug with pictures of the cards to the best of my photography ability, which is kind of low, but we'll make it work.
So, let's get started. The fun part about these is there's some value that could be found in these too. Some people are pulling what's it's a Mana Crypt, is like a $200 card. Let's see if I get one. During my draft, I pulled a lot of really good stuff, like Skull Clamp, Krenko. Let's see what we get. So the first one I get is a Mirrored Lotus. Now these are a special kind of card that was only made available for the convention packs, in that these are like playtest cards. They're meant to be busted and silly. And we're going to get a better version of this, I think, over there. But there's one of them.
So are they gonna? Is it busted and crazy like the old cracked cards?
Even more so. They weren't play tested. These are supposed to be like what they use in playtesting to make actual Magic card sets. But they intentionally looked at these and said, let's make these hilarious and, absolutely not legal in any format. This is just for the booster drafts that we're doing. And this one specifically makes fun of Black Lotus. As the center of the battlefield, each opponent may pay 0. When they do, they create a token copy of this, except it lacks the reflectability. So if I tap and exile this, add 3 mana of any color. So everybody gets a Black Lotus, basically. Black Lotus is the chase card of Magic. It's infamous in its price and its power level, and so most of these are jokes. We got jokes. So the rest of these should be just regular cards, but
is there like an era or a time frame in which they pull from, or is it just like anything that was ever produced?
I think it was everything that was produced after, I don't remember the year that they started or the set that they started, but these go back pretty far. One of the cards I pulled in my other one was from a set called Tempest, which is super, super old, like 97?
Yeah, that's about the time I was actually playing in middle school.
I got a lot of really good nostalgia bombs out of the ones that I had pulled prior, so let's see what I got. This one is Sky Marcher Aspirant. This is from the Ixalan block, so that's a fairly new card. It's White Weenie. This is still standard legal, so some people get cards that they can still actually, well, you can't really play with it because if we zoom way into the corner, we can see that there's a little stamp right here that denotes that this came from a mystery booster, and thereby I don't believe standard legal. But some people can get this and still play with it. And moving on. Pegasus Courier, which is from Magic 19, still a fairly new set. Not a whole lot of value here, but you know, that's the magic of booster drafts. Is sometimes you get the money, sometimes you get the chaff. This is Embodiment of Spring, which is from the Cons of Tarkir set. This is blue-green, sack it to look for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped. So that would be very good in a limited environment, especially since you can't really choose what you're looking for. One of the major problems I have in a limited environment is you take what you get, and sometimes if you have to play two colors, maybe a third, being able to search for the right resources is kind of difficult. Next is Mystic of the Hidden Way. This was originally printed in the con set, but this is the Magic 25 Masters Series version of it. These creatures are important in limited environments because it has evasion. It can't be blocked. It does cost 5 though, so could be better. Walk the Plank is next. This is also from the Ixalan sets. Destroy target non-merfolk creature for 2 black. That's important because creature removal for cheap, especially in mono black, is pretty good. Any kind of removal you can make room for in a limited way. Next is Caligo Skin Witch from Dominaria. Dominaria is one of my favorite sets. Had the return of Richard Garfield, who is the original Magic creator. And this particular card, okay, you have to pay 4 extra to be able to use its extra ability, which is called Kicker. And so you end up having to pay 3, 4, 5, 6 mana for a 1/3 that makes your opponent discard 2. Okay, it's okay in limited. Next is Madcap Skills. This is from an Iconic Masters set, I believe. Enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and Menace. So for 2 red, this is actually pretty good in limited because Menace makes it so it's harder to be blocked and it deals a lot more damage. And in red, you're going to have probably a creature on the board by the time this thing gets out anyway. So this is fun times. Next is Goblin Locksmith from a recent Ravnica set. I played with this in my booster draft during last weekend because I needed all the goblins I could get. I had pulled what's called Krenko Mob Boss and tap him and just exponential growth all your goblins. And this guy can't be blocked by walls. So I don't see a lot of walls in limited, but every now and again somebody will have a creature with Defender. There's one that came out in the newest set called Theros Beyond Death. That was a 0/5 turtle. That did a lot of work against me in those, and I think a card like that would have helped me a lot, especially with that enchantment from previously, and just start hitting them for 4, 5 even. Next is a 5/6 worm. Not great. If you need a body in your deck, this would have been a good pick, only if you have maybe not had a big boy. But moving on. Thrashing Brontodon, another Ixalan card. Ixalan had a lot of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are fun. You can sack it to destroy target artifact or enchantment, but he's a 3/4 for 3 mana, which is very good in a limited environment. Medium body, low price, what's not to like? Next is the Hammer Dropper, which is a 5/2 Mentor, which makes all your other creatures bigger. For the price, it could be good. in red-white, you're going to have a lot of creatures that are going to be coming out pretty quick. And so a 5/2 for 4, you can curve into them all right. Next is a Hexplate Golem, which is just a 5/7 artifact. Not much else to say. Next in my rare slot, we have Wargate, which is X mana, green, white, blue. Search your library for a permanent card with converted mana cost X or less, put it into play, and then shuffle. It's going to be hard to get this cast because green, white, blue is kind of difficult to play in limited. There might be some cards that could have gone well with this. It's going to be heavily dependent on the rest of your pulls. With this, I was able to pull 2 of each color, a gold and an artifact. They seeded that on purpose. Each slot has its own sheet, like I mentioned before, and they meant to... I think within this set, Wargate would have did some work. So, and then the last one, which is a mythic, is Eldrazi Monument. Creatures you control get +1/+1, flying indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep, sack a creature if you can't sacrifice Eldrazi Monument. If you can get some token generation going, or a Krenko like I had mentioned before, to really make a lot of creatures, this could be okay. If you have a lot of creatures out that are just sitting on the board that you could feed to this thing, sure, it could do some work for you. But I think this would be very good in a commander environment. In fact, this is from a commander set. So let's say I'm playing Markov Vampires and I have a lot of black 1/1 do nothing. Yeah, giving all your creatures flying in a deck like that could do a lot of work for you. So all in all, a decent pack. That Mirrored Lotus is kind of interesting to me. I'd like to see how much that goes for. So that's pack 1. Let's go on to pack 2.
Player 2. Open the game.
Another Mirrored Lotus.
It just had this feeling. I don't know why. I had a feeling.
That's so strange. Like, even in all the different pods that I had, I didn't get 2 of the same ones of these. But now I'm really going to have to go look to see if I got any value out of this. So that's interesting. First is Sparring Mummy from the Amonkhet series. Amonkhet was one of my favorites because I just like Egyptology in general, and I really liked the way that they had worked with the Eternal mechanic, and when this enters the battlefield, untap target creature. That could work. It's a 3/3 for 4. Let's say you have a creature with a activated ability and you want to use it more than once. Yeah, sure. You get a 3/3 body along with it. Next is Collar the Culprit. Destroy target creature with toughness 4 or greater. Very good in a limited environment. People are going to be working on their 4 or greater creatures pretty heavily, and so if you can get rid of basically their big beater with 4 mana, you could do better in general, but in limited, maybe not, especially if you're playing white or even blue. Next is Invisibility. Enchanted creature can't be blocked except by walls. Very good in limited. Again, evasion in a limited environment is very important. And with all this white and blue I'm getting, I probably would have played white-blue. Next is Dazzling Lights. Target creature gets -3/-0 until end of turn, and then Surveil 2. I would play this more so for the Surveil cost, or the Surveil ability, because now I'm going to be going through my deck and trying to find what I want rather than, whatever I'm drawing. So next is Doomed Dissenter, another Amonkhet card. When it dies, you get a 1/1, or you get a 2/2 black zombie. This could be good to fill out an army, and if you have any Graveyard Recursion, you can just keep playing this. It's cheap enough. I would play with this. I don't know if I'd make room for a third color if I'm playing white-blue, but fun times. Next is Inquisition of Kozilek, which is an Iconic Masters card. Target player reveals their hand. Very important because now you know what they're playing for 1 black mana. Choose a non-land card from it with converted mana cost 3 or less, and then they discard it. So something that you should do in general, if you're going to be looking at your opponent's hand, write down all their cards. It's not illegal, and now we have an idea of what it is they're playing with. Unless they're pulling something like Faithless Looting, or absolutely cycling through their hand super fast. Now you know what you're up against, and you know what to save your hand for. That's what we call a pro gamer move. Next is a Frontline Rebel. 3/3 for 3 mana, attacks each turn if able. This could do some work. 3/3 on turn 3 can be a real threat, especially if you put unblockable enchantments on it. Fun times. That's from Kaladesh. Getting a lot of newer cards in here. Next is Sulphurous Blast. Deals 2 damage to each creature and each player. If you cast this spell during your main phase, Sulphurous Blast deals 3 damage to each creature and each player instead. This is from a commander set, and very important in Limited because you don't get a lot of board wipes in Limited. Usually you just play with what is on the board, and you can usually get rid of 1 or 2. But remember what I'm saying about removal? This is going to get rid of quite a bit of stuff on the board, except for maybe the bigger players, which is where Collar the Culprit would have come into play very well as well. You can get rid of all the smaller stuff and then Collar the last guy. Next is Quiet Disrepair. Enchant artifact or enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, either destroy enchanted permanent or you gain 2 life. If you don't have a whole lot of other stuff where you're gaining life, or you need to get yourself that time, I probably wouldn't use the life gain. Destroying target permanent for enchantment or artifact is basically disenchant in green or a naturalize. Still good, but now you have an option to give yourself some extra time. Next is Absence Pilgrim. Tap to add a white to your mana pool. Mana dorks in Limited are always a good bet, especially since what I was saying before in resource management is very difficult. So I probably would have played with this. Maybe green, white, blue, all in all, especially with Wargate. Speaking of green, white, blue, now we have Rock's Warmonk. Green, white, blue, and we have a 3/4 lifelink. Excellent creature. The hard part is getting him out for 1 of each color, but Wizards can build in some extra power to be able to kind of hone him out. But if you're going to be playing with this green-white mana dork I mentioned before, I think you have a good combo there. Next is Frogmite. 2/2 affinity for artifacts. Affinity makes it so that the spell costs 1 less for every artifact you control. Now, I haven't pulled a lot of artifacts yet. I've pulled some. So a 2/2 for free may be good, but I think in the packs that I've pulled so far, I may not get this guy. Next is Dominus of Fealty, a 4/4 flyer. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may gain control of target permanent until end of turn. If you do, untap it and it gains haste. This is either 5 blue or 5 red. I think if I'm playing green, blue, white, I would probably use this because a 4/4 flyer can do a lot of work. Flying is important. 4/4 has a good body, doesn't die to most removal. And getting an act of treason for free every turn can really mess up somebody's day.
So as someone who hasn't played in like 500 years, I have a stupid question.
Sure.
Does it have to be 5 blue or 5 red, or can you kind of
either
A
or?
and B?
So when you put this card up over your lovely face, you'll see in the mana cost it's blue red, blue red, blue red, blue red, blue red, which I believe was an early Ravnica mechanic where you can choose which one you want. Very helpful for making options. So let's say you're playing maybe blue red or blue red white or any other third color. You're not locked into having to use 5 blue or 5 red. If it was either or, I probably wouldn't play it because to beat a dead horse here, resource management is tough and limited. So the last card I've got is a Greenbelt Rampager, which is a 3/4 for one green mana. When it enters the battlefield, pay 2 energy. If you can't, return it to its owner's hand and get an energy. IMO, kind of a dud. Have I mentioned energy counters yet this whole time? No. So you'll be spending a lot of your hand space trying to get this guy out for energy tokens. Okay. I would have had to have seen what's in the third pack, and if I would have had to dud rare IMO. So that's fine. We got 2 Lotuses, which is extremely strange. If that wouldn't have happened on camera, I don't think I would have believed me. I got 2 of the same playtest card in my packs.
Well, it would kind of suck if that was the playtest card.
The only playtest card?
Yeah.
There's a ton.
Okay, so as long as you know that there is a variety, you just got that weird roll.
There's definitely a wide variety of these things.
Oh, that's good. I appreciate that as a playtest card, it's totally not centered.
Oh, no, not at all.
That's great.
And then the other thing that you get when you play in Magic Fest is you get a promo land. I got lucky and I got 1 of each one. So if I can show you, these are also foiled. So these are going right into the commander decks. So that's both of the packs that I got. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Zappa for holding this up for me.
That's what I do. And as always, SIEG ZEON. So what did we just learn about these duplicate rares?
So I just looked on tcgplayer.com and these are going for about $50 a pop.
That...
So value.
Value.
Value.